parking lot. It wasn't the easiest position for the middle-aged man to maintain. He kept checking over his shoulder to make sure no one was watching him. He pulled a green pack of Noblest brand cigarettes from the pocket of his denim jacket. He missed the days when he could smoke inside. Things were different when the national headquarters of the Israeli police was stationed back in Tel Aviv. Since they moved to Jerusalem, the brass brought down the hammer on bad habits, all in an effort to keep the building nice and clean. Such is life. Leib kept the pack close to his chest. It felt like he was the only one in the department who bought them, since every time he went outside, someone tried to bum a smoke off him. His co-workers had also journeyed into the parking lot to get their nicotine fix, but they lingered closer to the building because that's where the outdoor ashtrays were placed. The patrol officers in their navy blue uniforms and matching midway caps mingled with the detectives in press suits. Leib never really cared for wearing the uniform or suit. He could make more headway with getting civilians to open up when they didn't look like soldiers or the taxman. Attire preferences aside, it was exhausting and expensive having to take care of their addiction before maintaining his own. And it never was just one cigarette he had to give up. If he had to give it to one person, he had to give it to everyone there. Smokers can get incredibly petty over things like that. Since it was impossible to tell when he might need someone's help, Leib's choices were reduced to staying on everyone's good side, or flat out disappearing when he wanted to light up. For his own sanity, he chose the latter. He yanked a cigarette out of by its speckled filter with his teeth. He was about to spark it up and get his much-needed source of relief when a nasal message droned over the loudspeaker. "Attention, Detective Yusuf Leib. Report to Chief Perez's office. Detective Yusuf Leib to Chief's office. That is all." Leib lost his balance and fell over, banging into the Camry and setting off its alarm. The people smoking closer to the building all turned to see the source of the commotion. He got to his feet and brushed himself off. He felt the burning eyes of his fellow officers on him. Just like that, his hiding spot went up in smoke. Since he couldn't stay out there by the cars by himself, he was forced to walk back to the building and socialize. One of the uniformed officers waved him over. His posture was stiff and formal. His cap was tucked securely under his armpit. He was clearly a fresh recruit out of the academy, behaving as if his commander was going to pop up behind him and scold him for slouching. He asked, "What were you doing all the way out there?" Leib rubbed the back of his neck. He already lost his hiding spot, and he didn't want to give away his reason for being antisocial, too. The detective gestured with both hands to the cigarette dangling from his lip. 3 guesses. "What? I can't hear you over the alarm." The officer held his hand to his ear and shouted, "What do you think the chief wants with you?" "No clue. Maybe he could get off one quick puff or two before going inside." He flipped open the Zippo lighter with a flick of his wrist. The loudspeaker overhead crackled again. "Attention, Detective Yusuf Leib, report to Chief Perez's office. Detective Yusuf Leib to Chief Perez's office." The officer laughed with a teasing tone like Leib had been called down to the principal's office. "Duty calls," he said with a shrug. The much-needed nicotine was so very close to getting absorbed into his lungs, yet so very, very far away. The fact that he could taste the filter and smell the tobacco only made this longing worse. He snapped the lighter shut with a metallic clunk, snuffing out the flame, and took out the Noblest pack to put the cigarette away. But before he could slip it back in with his brothers, he felt a tap on his shoulder. The officer was grinning at him and winked. "Hey, mind if I get one of those?" Such is life.
Yeah!